All right. Today we're using a Japanese fluke. Um, I ordered this. Took a while to get here. We're still using that jerk and pause, jerk and pause. I've seen guys put a lot of weight on these, try to fix them Texas rig. I've never seen anybody catch one like that on the fluke. The dancing, floating action of that fluke is what gets the strikes. Maybe in the heat of the day, it might work on a Texas rig. I just haven't seen it work yet. So far, weightless is the way to go. Tip number one, if you're fishing in water more than 5 feet deep, give it a few seconds to sink. You'll get a strike. Oh, I seen that line. Tighten it up. I seen that line. Tighten it up. I knew it was a fish on there. Yeah, I think. And yeah, we got enough. I can see that line. Yeah, he hit that puppy like he was 5 pounds. Right now, I'm only fishing in about 9 inches of water. It's important to make that fluke weightless so it can dance around and catch and trigger more fish. This time of year, this is one of my favorite corners to stop as I tour the lake. There's a lot of bluegill beds here in the summertime. Perfect spot for a little fluke. Oh, we got one. Oh, we got a nice one, y'all. We got a nice one here. He's a nice little fella. How about that little guy? Huh? The pros are winning a lot of money on fishing that baby bass fluke weightless. These two guys have the best tips. Watch their show.
I'll talk about that a little bit. First of all, the Fluke is undoubtedly a great bait. I mean, this thing's been in the bass catcher forever.
This is one of my number one shows. It's called Tactical Bassing. And this one is the top 5 baits for August bass. And I'm going to show you a trick that I picked up 5 years ago watching this show. He's a pro fisherman. He's no longer doing tournaments. And he's showing pro tips and tricks. Guys, go to YouTube, watch this show. It's a good show. You're going to pick up a lot of the tricks you see me fishing with. And you'll see I didn't make them up. This is what the pros are doing, but they're keeping it secret.
You can fish it depending on how you rig it. See how I poked out so close to the front of the bait here? That will cause the bait, that moves the hook slightly forward. It'll be a little more nose down when it falls, so it'll sink faster, meaning I can fish it a foot or two below the surface really well. If I take this bait and I poke all the way through and I come out in that belly cavity, fish just blew up right here. Now I've moved that hook back a little bit in the bait. Very subtle difference. But what that has done is instead of sinking nose first, the bait will sink flat. It will sink much slower. And I can use this just under the surface or even jumping and hopping out of the water like a topwater. So just a quick little adaptation to a single bait that can let it do two very different things.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to talk about flukes. The darting and diving action with a pause that makes fish just bam, reach out and grab it. We're going to talk about some lures, some hooks, some lines. So let's get started. Well, we're going to wrap this video up. We're going to talk about a few tips that make fluke fishing successful in freshwater and saltwater. As you notice from the video, a lot of people on the tournaments nowadays are going with this bait. It's the Zoom all the young dinger baby bass colored flukes. Now, I'm using this weightless, and I picked these tips up after watching the guys a couple of tournaments. They were throwing that. I've been throwing it for years, but right now the secret's kind of leaking out, and we're going to talk about some of the stuff that they're doing that you can do to make yourself have a more successful fishing trip. Now, the one thing I love about these flukes, especially like the baby bass, you see that shiny silver? When that's darting around and moving, it's like a beacon. It's like a flashing light. The bass see it. They run to see what that flash and flicker is. And then they see your fluke just slowly falling. Well, of course, you know what happens at that slow fall. Wham. Most guys fish flukes. They're going to run the hook up here. I've been practicing. If you turn that sideways like that, that hook will cause an imbalance in a fluke, and it will make it dart, dive, and everything. That's one tip nobody talks about. And I did see this on TV. I didn't make that one up, so I can't take credit for that. But turning that hook sideways, it also gives you a wider gap, because I'm using a worm hook. And on the worm hook, the gap is small. It's not like an EWG. This one is on an EWG, and it is sideways. This is for when you're in that heavy brush. You're throwing it in the sticks, piles, up toward the grass, limbs, sunken trees. This will not snag. It will come up and go over. Perfect for catching fish in trees when they lay downs. Some guys, they like to fish them a little closer to the top of the water. And if you put an EWG and run it down through that, it will pop up to the top. And you can fish it like a soft plastic jerk bait. Early in the morning, we must have caught about 30 fish using that technique. This lure is one of the newest things. You probably have not seen it and probably will not see it. This is a pro tournament fluke. I ordered this from Japan. It took a couple of weeks, but it was worth the wait. You only get 3 to a pack, so you really have to try to hold on to them. As you can see, once again, sideways. That hook, you can turn it a little like that. As you see, it's offset. An offset hook in a fluke will make it dance like nobody's business. If you're in 40 feet of water or deeper, you can go ahead and put a jig head on it. This is Tsunami. I think it's 1/4. It's a 1/4 jig head. For some reason, Tsunami does not put the weight on the boxes. I haven't figured that out. But this will go down to the bottom. If you're fishing reds, flounders, this is the perfect thing. That little jig head is so perfect for saltwater fishing. Otherwise, all my flukes are weightless. These two colors, I fish these two colors, this white and chartreuse, all year. And I mean all year. January, December, February, we caught fish on this all year round. Early morning, low sunlight, it is just amazing. You want to go with some chartreuse. Now, you cannot buy this. I made this. This is the way it comes. It's called White Ice. It's from Zoom. Okay, I got it that color by using Spike It. I dipped it in there 2 or 3 times, let it sit 2 or 3 times, dipped it a couple more times. If, again, you in deep water, you want to do something, we're talking like 10 feet or deeper, this makes the perfect drop shot. Perfect. We're going to talk about the last thing. It's going to be hooks. When you're fishing with flukes, you want light gauge hooks. I have 2 EWG hooks right here. See if we can get them. You can see the thickness. You want this thin gauge hook. Quick penetration, it's going to set itself. Same thing with your worm hooks, as you can see. The thickness is much different. You want to go with the light gauge hook. Guys, that's going to wrap it up. I hope these tips take you far. And always, this cheap and inexpensive trick, keep a knife sharpening stone. I got this from the dollar store 8 years ago. Keep it with you. Keep your hooks sharp. Tight lines. And this is Douglas Carr from Houston Parks Fishing. Y'all have a safe and blessed day.